The 1000th day of Russia's war in Ukraine was eventful, to say the least. Moscow says Ukraine fired longer-range US missiles at Russian territory, and this has happened for the first time. A clear red line for Russia, as it made clear in the past as well. Russia has now vowed that it will respond, and this as President Vladimir Putin issued a nuclear threat on the same day. Earlier this week, Washington cleared Kiev to use ATACMS against military targets inside Russia. This was a long-standing Ukrainian request that Moscow had repeatedly warned against. As for Russian officials, Ukraine used the missiles in the Bryansk region close to the border overnight. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has said that the attack showed Western countries wanted to escalate the conflict. Lavrov said Russia will be taking this as a new phase of the Western war against Russia and will react accordingly. Listen to this.
The fact that ATACMS was used repeatedly in the Bryansk region tonight, of course, it is a signal that they want to escalate the conflict, and it is impossible to use these high-tech missiles without the Americans. Putin has said this many times.
On the same day, Russian President Vladimir Putin signed a decree lowering the threshold for using nuclear weapons. The new doctrine broadens the scope of when Moscow can use nuclear weapons and is seen as a clear message to the West and Ukraine. It says Russia would consider using nuclear weapons against a non-nuclear state if they are supported by nuclear powers. And this would include Ukraine. The White House, the UK and European Union have condemned the move as irresponsible. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andrei Sybiga has termed this as Russia's nuclear saber-rattling. Speaking at the US Capitol at a congressional hearing, the foreign minister urged Ukraine's Western allies to remain clear-eyed and not give in to fear.
We're in Russia.
A video message from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was also played at the hearing, where he thanked the US and urged continued support until they achieve true and lasting peace.
I thank the entire US Congress for standing with us. These 1,000 days of war have been a path we've walked together. Now we must keep going until we reach the day we all dream of, a day of true and lasting peace.
Despite no clear end to the war in sight, UN members continue to reaffirm their support for Kiev and ask Moscow to withdraw its troops. Around 50 member states, including the United States and United Kingdom, Japan, Argentina, European Union, they've condemned what they call Russia's unabated, indiscriminate attacks. The signatories added that such strikes increase on a daily basis the toll of casualties, displacement and destruction, quote unquote. Escalation of the war and efforts for a truce have both continued for 1,000 days straight. As they remain besieged by frequent drone and missile strikes, Kiev residents marked 1,000 days of war. They lit 1,000 candles and prayed at the Motherland Monument. In the last 1,000 days, thousands of Ukrainian citizens have died. Over 6 million live as refugees abroad, and Ukraine's population has fallen by a quarter. For more on this, our correspondent Susan Terani sent us.
Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honor unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, beginning with the 144,000 men. Right, this is Brother Yerushalayim coming at you with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. The name of this one is Nuclear Threat Made by Putin After US Missiles Hit Russia. Alright, and you saw the video here. Within this video, they spoke about it being the 1,000th day, right, of the war in Ukraine. Alright, Russia and Ukraine, that that the US under Biden, basically sanctioned for them to use longer range missiles, right, which were fired into Russia. Five of the missiles the Russian forces were able to intercept, and one of them hit a stockpile, an area where there was a stockpile of Russian weapons, or which it didn't hit the weapons. All right, but as some people believe, what Biden is doing is he's he's trying to promote and push the war forward. All right, because they're afraid that Putin, that Trump, when Trump gets in office, Trump is gonna slow down the war and whatnot. And what you have to understand is that the powers that be, the global banking elites, that is the Rothschild, etc. They want this war. All right. There's the book, if you ever read or saw the book Satan's Angels Exposed, it goes into it, how they had 3 world wars planned, orchestrated. All right, from a long time. 3 world wars, and 2 are gone, and 1 remains. Even according to the scriptures, this is biblical. All right, let's bring in the book of Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14. Right, it says okay, and we can read a little higher, but I'll just read it for the point. Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past. That's talking about World War II. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. So this is coming quickly. All right, and you have to understand why it's coming quickly, because the powers that be, they know that Yahushua is on his way. All right, Revelation 12 and verse 12, it says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, those in rulership, the banking elite, right, were mentioned earlier, and ye that dwell in them, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. Why woe to them? To the people of the earth. For the devil, which is not talking about the spiritual angel Satan, is speaking about these banking elites. They are the devil that the Bible speaks of. All right, the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, right? Because he knoweth that he had but a short time. He know that the Lord is coming back. So here he wants to seize his control. He wants to establish his new world order. All right, and he has little time to do it. So that's the reason why the third war is coming quickly. Because they have one of the things they go by, these banking elites, is order out of chaos. Right, so they create chaos, mass chaos, to bring in their new world order, the order. All right, and that's exactly what World War III is going to be, mass chaos. All right, but what it's going to result in is nuclear war. All right, a nuclear war, because as a result of what Putin, Slovakia, as a result of what Kiev and Ukraine would have done, which was backed by the US supplying them with the weapons, with these ATACMS missiles, which are technological missiles. Russia has lowered its threshold, right? To use nuclear weapons. All right, they changed the protocol, which means that they can employ the US, they can employ the nuclear weapons much easier. Okay, and this is a major turning point. All right, the 10,000 goes back into 10. 10 is completion. So they completed the first step. Now they escalate into another level. All right, and this thing is going to build and build, right? Until World War III. All right, they're going to build and build until World War III. But before that prophecy comes to pass, the mark of the beast, the MOTB, have to be pushed. That RFID microchip, it has to be pushed. All right, and it's going to be pushed. That's why the US under Trump, he put Elon Musk into that position, that Department of Government Efficiency, so-called. All right, why do you think he put him in that position? And he's the guy who's pushing the Neuralink. So you put 2 and 2 together, and you understand what's going on. All right, everything's coming to in play, for the prophecy to come to pass. All right, now let's get a clip from another video here.
Or France. or Great Britain. If we find that these weapons are coming.
This is from AEK Media, Douglas McGregor. He said Putin issues final nuclear warning, right? Ukraine at risk of total destruction, and it's not Ukraine you have to worry about, all right? You in Babylon the Great, America, that's who you have to worry. Those who in Israel, they have to worry, all right? Because that's what the scripture said the missiles mainly going to hit, all right? And other places around the world as well too. All right, now let's play some of this here.
From Germany, great. If we find that any of these weapons are being launched from Germany or France or Great Britain, if we find that these weapons are coming from Germany, Great Britain, France, I think those countries could be in for an attack. They could actually, for the first time, see their countries at war, seriously at war with Russia. Remember, Vladimir Putin always said, if you persist in this and you attack the Russian homeland, you will be at war with Russia.
And that's the reason why I believe, a lot of these nations going to turn their back, these NATO nations, European Union nations, going to turn their back on America, right? Out of fear, fear of Russia. Meaning that Russia has all these advanced nuclear missiles, hypersonic missiles, all right? It's going to bring prophecy into play, where these nations very likely, they're gonna turn their back on Babylon the Great. And this is Obadiah 1, and see if we go down here. 1 and 7, it says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border, right? The men of the confederacy, who's that? Your European Union members, Germany, France, etc., right? Your NATO members, right? That's part of the beast system, right? The beast, which is the European Union and NATO. It says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, right? They're going to deceive Babylon the Great and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread. What does that mean? They get financed by America. America, gives a lot of finance into NATO and the EU. All right, into NATO, we know these weapons. All right, they eating their bread, the bread of Babylon the Great, America, and they're gonna lay a wound under them. They say, they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Right now, when you read that in the NLT, it says Obadiah 1 and 7, all your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land, which going back into the missiles, really, right? They're going to cover the whole of America and burn it down to the ground. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. So they're gonna join with Russia and China. It says your trusted friends will set traps for you and you won't even know about it. All right, they wouldn't know. All right, Revelation 17, and I believe it's around the the 10th verse. Let me see. Here we go. Revelation 17 and and verse 16. Right? It said the 10 horns which thou sawest, was going back into the European Union. Right? The 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, right? These shall hate the whore. Who's the whore? Babylon the Great, America. Right? The mystery Babylon. Okay? They're gonna hate her because of all what she done over the period of time, and her selfishness. They're gonna hate the whore, right? Because she make decisions only based on herself, and shall make her desolate, right? How they're gonna do that through the nuclear missiles, and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire, right? Okay, that's what they're gonna do. That's the nuclear missiles, right? For the Heavenly Father had put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of the Heavenly Father be fulfilled. So the Lord put in their hearts to fulfill his will, right? To join up with Russia. The same way how the Lord in Ezekiel, which we're going to read some of that, Lord willing, Ezekiel the 38th chapter, all right? When he said what? He said, in fact, let me read from the top. Prophecy of Gog and a future invasion of Israel, which really is basically Israel and America. Right? And a word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. So it goes back into Rus and Shah. Right? Shah means prince. Rus goes back into chief. The chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. When they go back into the ancient maps, Gog and Magog, is the area where Russia occupies right now. Right? Right? The prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him. Right? Those were Japhetic lands. It says, and say, Thus saith Yahweh power, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. This is the Lord controlling him. Putin being the head of Russia. And I will bring thee forth and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords, which is going back into the missiles. All right, that's what the guy goes in to talk about here, McGregor. All right, when he goes in and he speaks about, that, America is not ready for them, for Russia. All right, let's play some more of this.
Now, that's a very dangerous condition to be in right now, because we can't stop anything. As I and others on your program have said in the past, we don't have the air and missile defense capability to stop these missiles.
All right, they don't have the air capability, etc., to stop these Russian missiles. Right, they're way beyond them. America still hasn't developed their hypersonic missiles yet, or their missile defense system is not capable. Right, it's not capable. All right, that's how real this shit is gonna come. Right, so when Russia does launch those missiles, they're not going to be able to do anything against them. All right, okay, straightforward. Now let's get a precept for that. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, and verse, I believe it's around the 30th verse. Let's see. All should done. All right, that's that. Salakia, Jeremiah 51, and let's see. Yeah, here we go. Jeremiah 51, verse 28. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes. Who's that? That's going back into Russia. When you see the Medes, a lot of times in the scriptures, it's going back into Russia, because that's again Russia occupies what is Japhetic lands, right? The captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion, right? So in the NLT it says, bring against her the armies of the nations, led by the kings of the Medes and all their captains and officers. And that's what we just read when we went into Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, right? We're just about to read that. It says, and I will turn thee back, verse 4, I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth with all thine army, horses and horsemen. When I read down to verse 5, it talks about all the different nations who are going to join forces with them. Persia, Ezekiel 38 and 5, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all her bands, and the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. So that's why Russia going to be a guard unto all these nations, right? Which is what we read here, right? Bring against her the armies in the NLT, Jeremiah 51:28. Bring against her all the armies of the nations, led by the kings of the Medes and all the captains and officers. Right, going back to the King James Version, it says, verse 29, and the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai shall be performed upon Babylon, to make the land of Babylon, which is Babylon, the great America, a desolation without an inhabitant. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight, right? They no longer fight. They have remained in their holes. their might had failed, right? Because there's nothing they could do, right, against these missiles. It says they became as women. They have burnt their dwelling places. All her bars are broken, right? All the bars, all the nuclear defense system, it will be broken. It's not going to stop any of these missiles. Like what the guy is saying here. All right, that's the reality of it. That's why. Let's rewind this back.
Would that say anything? As I and others on your program have said in the past, we don't have the air and missile defense capability to stop these missiles. And that's not just hypersonic. We can only defend about 5 to 7% of NATO territory. And yet we're provoking the one state in the world today which has the capacity to fire thousands and thousands and thousands of missiles that could reach our homelands.
And it's going to reach their homelands. It's only going to take them 1 hour to destroy Babylon the Great. And that's scriptural. Right? When you go to the book of Revelation chapter 18, and see this here. In 1 hour. Let's see. Revelation 18 and 10. Let's go there. Right, Revelation 18 and 10. Right. In fact, I will read from verse 9. It says, "Lament for Babylon and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her," talking about Babylon, the great America, "shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is her judgment come." So in 1 hour is only going to take 1 hour, because most of those missiles can reach Babylon, the great America, within half an hour, right? And he also said that, they can fire thousands and thousands of missiles, right? Which take us back to what? Revelation, the 9th chapter. All right? Revelation, the 9th chapter speaks about that. Okay? Let's go down here. So lucky. Okay? Revelation 9 and verse 15, it says, "And the 4 angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour," right? The same hour we read about in Revelation 18, the hour of the destruction of Babylon the Great, right? "And a day and a month and a year for to slay the third part of men," right? Because when you go back to Revelation, the 7th chapter, the Lord said he tell the angels to hold back the 4 winds. The 4 winds representing nuclear missiles from blowing on the earth until the elect is sealed. Right, but when the destruction of Babylon comes, the elect would already have been sealed. All right. Verse 16, it says, "And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them." So the army is not a literal army of troops. All right, it's speaking about missiles. All right, and they say we're 200,000. And when you do the maths, that adds up to 200 million. Right, as you see in the NLT. "I heard the size of their army, which was 200 million mounted troops," which is what? Not actually literal mounted troops. It's missiles. Okay? "And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire and jacinth and brimstone. And the heads of the horses was the heads of the lions, as in nuclear warheads. And out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone," right? That destruction, that besom of destruction. Right, sweeping action, right? "And by these 3 were killed, with a third part of men killed, going into Esau, Edom, mainly in Babylon. Babylon is the capital, the modern day capital, the modern day Bozrah of Esau, Edom. Right, they were killed by fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth, which is the warhead, and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads with which they do hurt." So the tails is like the afterburner, the jet propulsion system. All right, that's what it's speaking about. Right? So he said thousands and thousands. It matches up with scripture perfectly. Let's listen to some more of this.
They could obviously attack us as well. I don't think that's going to happen because that's not something that Vladimir Putin wants to do. And he does know that essentially Trump wants to end the war. So he's going to exercise restraint. But the people who are going to pay the most price right now are the Ukrainians. They're simply going to be annihilated.
And then you Americans, you wicked in America, not the elect I'm speaking about, you're going to be annihilated by Russia and China. So you best start worrying about yourself too. That's how real this thing is. This thing ain't no joke. Right? And the Lord, and all what's happening is the Lord stirring up Vladimir Putin. And as we read about in Ezekiel 38 chapter, right? Putting hooks into his drawers, right? And leading them out. Right? That's what he's doing right now. Right? Ezekiel 38 and 10. Thus saith Yahweh power, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind. Right? Who sends things into a man's mind? Right? Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai, man's goings of the Lord. If so, how can a man understand his own way? See, the Lord is the one who controls. Alright? Things shall come into his mind, thy mind, which is going back to Putin's mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought, or devise a wicked thought. Thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, I will go to them that are at rest, of more Babylon the Great, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, neither having bars nor gates. Right? To take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. So they're going to come up against Babylon the Great, America. Right? And this is the plan of the Lord Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai. Right? This is the plan of the Lord. Okay? Because the Lord has a plan to let's read it. Alright? Ezekiel 38 and verse 15, it says, and thou shalt come from thy place out of the north part of Russia, thou and many people with thee, all of them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army, right? This Messiah is going to come. And thou shalt come up against my people of Israel, because Israel, for the most part, the true Israelites are in America. Alright? As a cloud to cover the land, it shall be in the latter days, and I will bring thee against my land, that the heathen may know me, when I shall be sanctified in thee, O Gog, before their eyes. So the Lord is going to sanctified in Gog, which is Russia, is the sword and the knife, the sacrificial knife that the Lord is going to use to do a great slaughter in the land of Babylon the Great. Right? The Lord has a sacrifice to make. Sanctify means what? To consecrate, make holy, sacred. And blood has to run. Right? Going back into Isaiah the 34th chapter. Alright. And let's see if we can find this here. Here we go. Isaiah 34 and 6. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. And how we know that those missiles are the sword and the Lord, because the Lord made them. The Lord made those missiles. Alright, going back into, is it Isaiah 54 and 16. It says, behold, I have created a smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, right, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. So the Lord created that sword, as his sword, the smiths, going back into the scientists, right, and he created that weapon to destroy, right, and that weapon is in the hand of Esau Edom, who is the wicked, right, according to Malachi 1 and 4, and they had the sword of the Lord on the left hand side, going back into Psalm 17 and 13, I believe so. Right? Book of Psalms 17 and 13, it says, arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. Alright? So the wicked is the sword of the Lord. Alright? Bear with me a moment here.